Yo, man, what's up?
Hey Jay, Kafang.
That's
How's it
right.
going?
Represent, man. How have you been?
Good, good.
You have a good week?
The week was there, man. The week was there. And now
Eh,
we're what, on the weekend? Doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem like it, but yeah. How you
yeah.
been?
I've been doing good. Staying busy
Just
as
leave it there.
staying busy as always and positive. We do what we do what we can.
We try.
That's right. Um, what are some of the headlines for this week on stuff that's been happening in Nigeria?
Wow. That's a loaded question, AJ. You know that. It's been difficult. I mean, you know what's going on. I mean, this is the trouble we're having. I mean, we've got the situation, the ongoing situation, the continued situation that we speak about in our silent slaughter, our incident tracker. But what's happened in the last couple of weeks have really been the indication of that Nigeria is failing. I mean, with the
Yeah,
SARS, EndSARS protests,
yeah.
I mean, it's sad and unfortunate. We don't know what's going on. Truthfully speaking, with media reports and stuff. But yeah, it's not been good.
I mean, like, part of me is like, there is a part of it that makes you feel good, and there's a part of it that just breaks your heart.
Yeah,
Like, I think that whenever you see people come together, like, it breaks the barriers of culture, of tradition, and everything, and people come to a common understanding of something that's happening. I think it's really, really beautiful. But then to kind of see how it's affecting everyone, and I mean, it's just so sad, and you want to see so much more coming out of the government, and I feel even with the protests, like, the protesters are just kind of saying, government, like, we want to see you doing more. We want to see more coming out of you, but it's just, I don't know, it's just one
yeah.
of those hard things.
I mean, but that's been the cry for how many years? I mean, NSARS is just when it first came out, a couple weeks ago, you started seeing it, and where was the focus? It was Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, big cities, and who's in the big cities? Businessmen, young people looking for jobs, the socially mobile, middle class kind of people, right?
Yeah,
And then it just continued to grow. I don't think they, you're hearing reports or rumors that they just kind of let it. They thought it was going to die away.
yeah,
So this whole thing with the Fulani militants, which we thought would get people rising up, Boko Haram, they get people rising up protesting, just didn't really catch on. But now this is catching on in the big cities.
yeah,
People with phones, with access to internet. That's making a stink. That's making a huge impact, right?
yeah. And, like, I think, like, even with the protests, I feel that there were a whole lot of other things that were happening within the country that that were wrong. And I think, like, with the whole SARS thing, there are a lot of other issues to why people are frustrated and they are out there marching, saying, persecution that was just happening just a couple months ago. I mean, like, this year alone has just been crazy with the Fulani militants, and with Boko Haram, and just all of the warnings that have been coming around. It's just been crazy.
Yeah.
So which way now, can we say Nigeria is going to go with what's going on?
Well, that's it. I mean, I definitely believe Nigerian politics has changed forever. I mean, because the youths have realized how powerful they are. I mean,
Yeah,
they remember occupying Nigeria a couple of years ago. The bring back our girls thing. Those things kind of, they get a little traction, but I think this is really the youths have really brought this to a forefront, and I think it's going to change because they see what they can achieve when they unite for the common goal, and that's
yeah,
it. If they can unite for end SARS, then they can also unite for these other causes as well. They had the 5 for 5 things where they wanted to bring up, the president must speak, there must be this, and they're seeing specific actions taken by the federal government. So
yeah, yeah.
hope is always there, and potential is coming. So
And basically, like, I think, like, it's more about, like, accountability. I think people just want there to just be uh uh fair governance, just where they believe that the people that they have put into power to take care of things are going to take care of things and lead the country somewhere, not
yeah,
take them back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, is this going to bring about measurable change? In the short term, yes, but let's hope for the long term, right?
Yeah.
That some will happen. So, I mean, you want to jump into like SARS? We're kind of talking about today a little bit, and then maybe the background of it.
Yeah. So today, what we want to do here is just kind of talk about the protests that has been kind of going on and hear from some of the Nigerians that are all over the world and how they're comprehending what's going on, and then also um, 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 kind of discuss how persecution has also affected things in Nigeria over time. There were the attacks that were happening with the people in the villages and stuff like that, and we just feel that it's really important that we keep that within people's minds, and we have to talk about it because you have too many people that are displaced. They have no place to go. Literally, they have been kicked off of their land, out of their homes, and it's just tragic. So yeah, definitely. Um, let's start to talk about SARS, and then start to jump on board, and then we can get a couple of people on. Let's just give people just like a couple of minutes to join, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can kind of share. Give us just a second just to share some of the links out to different people, and we can get this thing going.
Yeah. So, I mean, so we know. So we're talking about here. I mean, I think many of our viewers, many of our followers know what's going on, are aware of the EndSARS protests, right? SARS is the Special Anti Robbery Squad. It
Yeah.
was formed. I mean, the literature on the internet and the police website says it was formed in 1992. It was formed as a deterrent as the country's high crime rate started to get higher. Squad kind of developed and operated in an anonymous manner, attempting to
Hmm.
protect officers and they conducted investigations without interference by others. So they became a law, jury, and enforcer all unto themselves. So and in 2017, we started to hear this. This when the EndSARS sort of movement kind of came about, where petitions were signed, online petitions were made. Nigeria's National Assembly uh, was given a petition calling on them to totally disband SARS, which didn't
Yeah.
ever happen. A few senators backed the call, but nothing was ever really fully done, and reformation never really happened.
So what was that thing about like I read an article just some time ago about how when the protest started, the I think the government said that they were going to end SARS, and people were kind of happy about it, and then it changed to SWAT.
Well, they weren't even happy about it. They said, yeah, right. You're saying you're going to disband it. You say you're going to dissolve it, but really, are you? And I think that, and yeah, and then you're right. So then all of a sudden, word came out where, hey, we're ending SARS, and then we're going to start up a SWAT team. Okay, Special Weapon and Tactics Team. You go
Yeah.
from Special Anti-Robbery to Anti-Tactics Weapon Attack. I mean, you can't get any more stupider than that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just bizarre that it would happen. That okay, this is the call to action was to disband it, bring officers to book, release the protesters, all this stuff, and then you're going to start up a SWAT team. Okay, you're not getting it. I mean, something's not clicking when you start to replace one with the other. They're basically saying they don't trust the police.
But then like so let me ask you this, Kyle. What would you say should be the issue? Cuz no matter what happens, like it's the same group of law enforcement people that would be shifted into the next thing. So, do you think that policing needs reform, or does it need like how can they fix the security issue, if I can put it that way? Because we do need the police. Like the
Yeah,
police need to be there to protect the people, to protect their businesses, to keep the peace going, just so that it'll be safe for people. But you know,
but that's what
how is it
that's
that they can
same
fix
thing.
it?
Same thing has happened here in the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
As being here and watching what's happened in the last few months in America. I mean, the idea was yes, let's reform the police. Then some people will say no, let's get rid of the police. Some people say defund the police. All these things, great. These are great discussions to have, but let's have them in a productive manner, in a way that's going to get action done. But the movement was hijacked. The word, we said this on our podcast yesterday, the words Black Lives Matter those are three great words, important words. But when it becomes a movement that gets kind of an agenda and a point person or a group of people, and the messaging and whatever gets hijacked, now we're in trouble. And now we have people that don't trust Black Lives Matter. They don't trust the movement of Black Lives Matter. So there's dissent. There's a wall between these two groups talking. Same with EndSARS. Yeah. So you had this thing started, and it was a great movement, and it still has that potential. But hopefully, I was put on the screen here the 5 for 5. That those are the 5 demands they made, and I thought that's pretty good. They come up with now demands. Buhari release all protesters, immediate constitution governing the Human Rights Commission, suspension of officers in command that protesters were killed on their watch relief of duty, short-term goals, 5 for that, and then 2 long-term. What's going to happen? So I think the long-term one is what you kind of asked about, is what can happen with the police. We need the police, so there has to be holistic police reform and to decentralize the police force to improve efficiency. Those are the conversations. What does that look like? State police? Do we have local police? Because Nigeria, it's a federal police. There's one person, an Inspector General of Police, who sits in Abuja and controls the whole police in the whole country for 200 million people.
Yeah. I mean, my own thing is just some kind of discussion needs to be held, and some way, somehow, they need to work towards it. I don't think that it's just one discussion or one meeting that is going to solve every problem, but it's going to get the wheels turning on the change that people want to see,
Yep. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, so when the protests began on October, was it the 2nd? 3rd, on the 3rd, Delta State, the protest began because of it. So Delta State, victim vehicle was taken from a hotel on the October 3rd, a Saturday. 2 days later, the musician Sleek was killed by SARS in front of Port Harcourt Hotel. He was supposed to unlock his phone. SARS heavy-handed, killed him. So then the protests started to move. October 8th, people began to share their stories. You had tweets, you had Facebook posts. Different things started to happen. On October 9th, protesters wanted the Inspector General to address them. Just come out and say, hey, we're talking about this. What do you have to say? Yeah. And then eventually protesters were killed. October 10th in Oyo State, police killed 1 protester. October 11th, protests continue. Inspector General announces the dissolution of SARS, but 3 more protesters were killed. And then these kind of things continued to happen. October 12th, River State protests happened, and they banned protests. This is the other thing. The government doesn't get it. Protests, if you meet them, allow them, and make it happen so they can protest effectively, then you're okay. But when you start to ban them, what do? Oh, okay, we give up. We'll go home. No, They come out and say, you can't ban us without addressing our needs and our wants and our demands.
So, which leads me to my next question. So we protest, people start to know more about what is happening. Then what happens after the protest?
Exactly.
What is the head and what is the tail?
Yeah, right. It's the tail wagging the dog wagging the tail wagging the dog, right? I mean, you've got to have it in a position where the right demands are there, which I think they did agree on. I mean, we had our guest yesterday, Kamara, share about they were highly organized. They were raising money. They were crowdsourcing or crowdfunding, whatever they were doing. They had centralized people helping out with the money, trying to, if anyone's arrested, they were sending lawyers and legal help down there. So I think that's what you want. You want organization, and you want it effectively grassroots, so they don't get taken away in one direction or not effective in another direction, or the government kind of pays off people and then they stop. We want to have enough people at the grassroots helping and promoting the cause. So you're right. What's next? I think that's the big thing. It's already the knee-jerk reaction of the government was to leave it, let it go, let it die away, let's ban them, let's do curfew and all this stuff. That didn't work, right? Yeah. Who sent the troops to Lekki Tollgate? Who was the one who sent the troops? Everyone is denying it. No one's mentioning it in the government wise. But yet here we have proof that there were people in camouflage
Yeah.
shooting guns, firing weapons.
Yeah.
Proof and camouflage people that look like army, turning off, maybe telling the toll gate to turn off the lights, turn off the CCTV. So there's an inquiry now that's been set up. I think they'll start Monday for sure in Lagos State. So the governor set up that, and I think that will hopefully bring some sort of progress or discussion. But, with government, do people trust the government? Ask all the guests that we have, they know.
Yeah. 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 Well, something just needs to happen. Something needs to, go down, and change just needs to come to Nigeria. My own thing is, like, I feel Nigeria has so much potential. There is what you hear in the news about Nigeria, and then there is what you don't hear, and a lot of the goodness and the stuff that you can enjoy about Nigeria, it's like, it's just always drowned out, but I think over with time, these are things, the more we see people coming together, I think that it's giving us hope that change is going to come. And like, that is even like another thing. Like, I feel, like this thing, like even during the time of the persecution, it was more of like a state thing. They are killing people in Kaduna, they are killing people in Benue, or people in Adamawa, But why is it that Nigerians can't see it as a Nigerian problem? It is not like a problem for just one particular group, but it's a problem that can grow and become a bigger problem for other parts of Nigeria.
Yeah. I mean, so that's it. I mean, so you have the contrast. So on Sunday, October 18th, many cities held prayer walks. Yeah. They were using the protest as a chance to pray. I mean, I had footage from Jos. I was trying to put it up there. People under the bridge singing praise songs. Yeah. People weren't using it to hijack a movement. They were using it to unite the youth together, and it did. And then you had at the Lekki Tobu before they were shot. They had people singing the national anthem, carrying the Nigerian flag, and look what happened. I mean, the contrast is so large. It's so apparent that that the government is not see what's happening. When people cry out, come out to protest, they have a desire to see change, and all it would take is one person, president, vice president, to listen and say, we hear you, let's talk, let's have a discussion, right? Instead, the president barely spoke about I don't think he even addressed the Lekki massacre. He basically said, don't judge things too quickly. There's people coming out, bad people taking over the protests. Well, okay, great. Those are just smoke screens. That's just not getting the discussion. I mean, he did say that there were 59 people that died, or 60 some people that died. 69 people died. 51 citizens, 11 police, and 7 soldiers. So he did address that. So he now, is that overall? Is that at Lekki? Is that, where is this? So at least he's now realizing he's come to have to face the facts. So,
and like, for me, that was like one of like the saddest things. Like, so I heard that there was like a I don't know, like some sort of message that like went around saying, and I'm not sure about this, but like I heard somebody say that there was a message that went around that the troops, they were told that if the citizens held
a flag,
Nigerian flag, that the soldiers wouldn't shoot at them. So that was why, like, during the incident, you would see people holding the Nigerian flag, and then also they were singing the national anthem as like this thing was happening. So I was like, what is going on?
Well, I looked at that. BBC said they debunked it. They contacted a few people and that, soldiers, whatever. And that's not, it's undetermined if that's true or not. So with the flag thing, but it's still, I mean, when someone comes out, they're not coming out with EndSARS red flags only, but they're coming out with Nigerian flags. You see the Nigerian soccer team, football team shirts on. You see people singing the national anthem. They're proud of their country and the potential it has. They're not proud of their leadership, and that's effectively what they're asking for is a change of leadership. And I think that's where we've we've come to this point. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting these days. I know for a fact there were some high level international government people, I won't say who, that were in Nigeria at the time, and a lot of people are commenting on it. I mean, internationally, this, as you said earlier, we started the show, this is not a good time for Nigeria, but this is a great time because the voice of Nigerians are being heard. I mean, you had the Bring Back Our Girls campaign when Michelle Obama, the first lady, held up her sign, and Oprah and other people, but it quickly died. So that was you. You just joined us. Thank you, AJ.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I was trying to send a link to our first guest here, so I was just trying to put it on. Sorry for that.
No problem.
All right, here we go.
We're on the fly. We're the hosts, the producers, and the directors of our own show. It's lovely.
So if you kind of see us looking away, we're
trying to make sure people are in the room.
In, communication.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, we have our first comment here.
That's great. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Miss Sarah Kubruk. Yeah, that is right. We have to get engaged. We need to be more engaged.
Yeah, I mean that's it. So the international community are watching. They're I'd say taking notes, but they're very concerned, and that's why another thing, we can't lose this momentum. Mm-hmm. Right now is the time. So now you've got the world watching. What is the Nigerian response? What's the response of the youth? Are they gonna stop the protest when the government says so? Yeah. On what means and what grounds? Right. Yeah. So we heard that some of the curfews were brought back time-wise, or they reduced them. The protesters told their people, don't come out right now, whatever. But if nothing is done on Monday or Tuesday, this is going to rise up again. I think Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to see more and more protesters.
Yeah. We have another comment here from Miss Mimi Adetoku. I can't say it, man. My tongue is... The annoying thing is how they are trying to play games with intelligent minds, with narratives they are building about the whole Lakey drama being photoshopped. What is that? Yeah. I really feel... So I feel that is one thing that people really need to also pay attention to, and just like kind of be careful about what is the real stuff that is really happening out there, and then what is misinformation.
Right. I mean, you saw the I mean, there's even the last 2 days. I mean, you brought this up off before we started. It's people are saying they found these palliatives that the Nigerian government has been hoarding for the COVID-19 victims. So all these videos from Plateau to Benue to Lagos to Delta, all these places now are showing videos. I can't verify if they're true or not. I'd love to have someone, prove that these are actually, that they're there watching. I've seen videos come up and we don't know if it's true or not. But if that's the case, that is another strike against the government.
Yeah. I mean, things just need to really change, and I think even we, the people, we really need to be more, alert to what is going out there, and then having ways of trying to confirm a lot of the reports, and then at the same time knowing what our reliable sources are into getting the right information. Because just like Priscilla said on a one-on-one about like how there was a time in Unjust where there were two religious groups that were attacking each other, and then they went out, and then they were face to face on the road, and then they said that we heard that
you were
yeah, man, you were going to come and attack us, and then they were like, well, we heard the same thing, that's why we're out here. So it was like a moment of just kind of figuring out things. So it's just important that also people are alert and they're paying attention to what is happening.
Yeah, and let me before you bring the guest in here, I see we got Stephen here, but I think we've this whole thing of factual representation. If someone is interested in documenting things and in doing, we in ICON use this extensively across Nigeria. I think just private message us on Facebook, Twitter, or there's an app we have that we use, and we can get the data and we can use it to help international pressure on Nigeria. It's a secretive app that we use. I won't give the details now because I could expose people, but it's something that is used to document events, atrocities. So if you see something happen, you pull up your phone, click on the app, and you start to document it, keep track of things, put the notes. It does a geocode. It's secure. It locks it when you upload it into the cloud. It's considered evidence. It's evidentiary procedure. So we if you have anything, just please direct message us on our Icon Help pages.
Yeah. The information is there at the bottom of the screen. There's the email address there at iconhelp.org, and Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and Instagram.
Yep.
Follow us, join us there. All right, so our first guest is Mr. Stephen Bahago.
Hey, AJ, how's it going, man?
Man, it's going good, bro. Good to see you, man.
Greetings. How are you, sir?
Very good.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you too. Thank you for the good work, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you're in Jos, right?
I am in Jos.
Tell us what's happening with the protests, with the situation. I mean,
Oh no.
I can see you, but I definitely know you can't see me.
Is this a dividend of democracy that we're seeing?
Exactly.
Man, this is one of the issues.
Exactly. So, well, let's hope that some help can come in there.
Yeah. There you go.
You could have planned it better.
I don't know if you can see me,
Yes,
but it's
yes.
from my own side here because of I use 110 240 volts, and so sometimes when the light gets bad, it kind of provides some alternative.
All right.
Yes, but yeah, it's nice to again join you on the platform. I've been following a very great awareness you're creating over the war, and we thank you so much for also standing in, speaking for Nigeria and Nigerians.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, in Jos today, after the curfew being relaxed yesterday, I believe, and sometimes around 10 o'clock, we started hearing that there was this warehouse that has food for the palliative, that either it was for COVID or for relief or some kind of palliative for the masses. And we had people were packed in the compound and the area, and they broke through the door in to get some food. Some of those were rice and all sort of food that was there. And so they discovered that there are other warehouses within the state, within the city. So marching over there again, the crowd, and you could see that there's just a lot of hunger and a lot of desperation in the lives of people. And so the state government brought out the press release to put us back to curfew again. So we are in another 24 hours of curfew.
Oh, so it's another 24 hours of curfew right now.
Right now.
Oh my goodness.
And then it looks like it was an isolated case till we now heard from Kaduna, who also discovered some 2 warehouses, and they broke in there and got food. And then Kaduna now are also in another 24 hours curfew.
Oh no.
So, overall, you can literally just say it was like some of us predicted from the beginning that this is a snowball.
Yeah.
It's never just gonna end. No one knows it. Anyone that joined the contest, the protest, he is just joining it because it's affected, not that there is anything orchestrated. The condition here by itself has made everyone to be a protester.
Yeah.
It's not a situation where somebody is sitting down. For most that I know, somebody sitting down, we are going out on this city. No, people just said, if you're not happy, come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, people are coming out. because the condition is unbearable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's it. So so these warehouses supposedly have COVID-19 relief materials, foodstuffs, different stuff. So this has been, I mean, so this EndSARS has nothing to do with that. But now people are finding that the government's failed them, not just in the police, not just in the COVID, and then it's being unjust at the Fulani militant situation, Boko Haram situation. So it's just boiling up. It's snowball. I like that term. It's just from something small to now something massive.
Yeah.
What's your input or what's your take on the people in Jos about not just the EndSARS thing, but just generally with the Fulani militants, with the Boko Haram situation?
Yes. Again, these are really interconnected issues. As somebody may even just want to say it's a setup for government or anything, there has been a lot of killings over the years, catalogs of killings. I work with youth and youth organizations, and you find out that you could go to either IDPs or homes and you find children who have never seen their parents. They went to school and came back and they found they were taken to IDPs and the parents are no more to be found. And they would go to IDPs, so they would go to school, come back, and they were taken to IDPs. They will meet one of their siblings or one of their relatives, and the rest are no more. So those issues are not just like they're compounded issues, and you would find any areas that the attacks have been made, you would find out that people go back there. It's another set of people settling in those homes and those farmland, using those farmlands.
Yeah.
You have very horrendous issues that there's no way you can enjoy sitting down, and even you have everything provided for, you are not at peace for your life. It's just a lot going on. So to put it into perspective, it is what to us looks like organized, and to the government and whoever that cares to be the leader, like a coincidence. And so you find an organized coincidence going on where people are killed and nobody comes to their rescue till when people woke up to the reality, are trying to know who, then the military or whoever, the police would come and they will still arrest the victims. They're not even
the victims. Yeah.
And those are really like that. And then if that was only the issue, then people would have said we are dealing with insecurity alone. But now they cannot farm, they are hungry, and the government it's not providing the necessary amenities, either health amenities, the road infrastructure, the water that people can drink. All of those interconnected needs of people, the basic essentials, are always not there. So you find out that what it looks like a singular problem that could have dealt with has created a web that you are not able to solve it with just an idea. And with every respect to our government, every human try, and everyone is in a leadership position, but to a point that you are not able to even discern that people have multiple interpretations of what you are doing over the years. There are many Nigerians that they have woken up seeing leadership over the time. We know what deceit look like. We know when you hear a lie, and you know when you hear a political pacifiers. They're just political pacifiers. Tell us it's going okay, we're going to give them, put them to book, and all of such. But they never always think that the person that is listening has needs that those conditions had already created. With that, you find ripple effects.
So let me ask you this, if I can. And me and Kyle were just talking about this too. What next?
It's a loaded question.
Who even knew what was? That is the idea of the snowball, AJ. That's the idea of the snowball. Nobody knew how it began. We only knew that what would even connected Plateau with what happened in over there, besides the fact that we are just Nigerians.
Yeah.
But people resonate to the need. The needs are very vast. They are countrywide needs. And the solution needs a countrywide solution. And if those solutions are not there, I am scared how that looks like. Now, let me tell you what the idea of breaking into warehouses could translate to. Do do you ever know completely that, do you ever thought in your barest imagination that somebody can break into a warehouse in Nigeria? Have you ever thought in your own lifetime that a Nigerian will march on the street? Have you ever thought in life that a Nigerian would literally give a condition, one single condition to the government? Not
Yeah.
not completely in my own years of existence in Nigeria, that would have been an option for Nigeria. Because there are times that we hide under prayer, we hide under seminars, we hide
Yeah.
under elections. Now, let me tell you, people are even saying that, oh yeah, hold on your voters registration cards. We are going to vote them in 2020. What are they doing in terms of decision making now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are rigging decisions. They're rigging development.
Yeah.
Who told you that there's even going to be elections?
Yeah.
You know, this is what we are scared of. We are scared that there might not be election. We are scared that there might even not be us existing in there, because the more it happens and nobody is owning to confess to the people and say that we're going to change things, the more it peels out into becoming a rolling ball situation where you find massacre, killing, and all of these things, like what happened in Lake.
Yeah.
And okay, you cannot determine what that will look like.
Right.
Even some so-called prophets,
Yeah.
I mean, they never saw this coming.
Yeah, and I think that's the key point is no one's seen it coming. No one know, but it's been boiling for so long, right? So now
Yeah.
we've got, as you know, Icon has continued to push the needle or the narrative that the Fulani militants attack Boko Haram. We believe there's a genocide in Nigeria against Christians
Yes.
in Nigeria. You know, so those
Yes.
rural farmers who are there, they'll hear the
Yes.
EndSARS and they'll say, "What's EndSARS?" But they know how the cause of the Fulani militants are dealing. Their land is being destroyed. They can't farm, as you said. They can't. There's no income because they can't even farm. So we've got this now, and you're right. If we don't take advantage of it, you know, that's part of something I want to throw into that snowball that's rolling. Is we've got to come together. We've got to have the one singular voice of change. And what does that look like? Whether it's holding a government accountable, stopping the impunity that the Nigerian government has, or is it actually saying we want new elections or whatever? I mean, these are the kind of things that have got to start to be discussed. I think they are, and they have been. And I just think, so what's your take on the overall situation? So you've got governors, you've got presidents, you've got even local government chairmen. You know, what is their engagement?
So again, I will speak and give solutions in my little thoughts as well. You know, if you already mop up the summary of how that looks like when you are even expecting change and all of it that is coming. But even more than that, if our people, our leaders will literally know that every leader has on his hand a golden moment that you can literally change a worst scenario and come out like a hero, and people would celebrate you. Nigerians are gracious humans. Everyone knows it, who knows them. Now, everyone will even forget that anything ever happens. But you know what? It will take, number one, those who really respect the sanctity of life and the sacredness of humanity to be able to own up to this situation, both in their pockets of decisions, but equally coming up to say, you know what? We are part of this government. Is either we change this government or we are not part of it any longer. The point there is that those who have the guts for the humans for to do the right things and they love humanity, they should be able to make such statement. Now, let me tell you what happened today, Kyle. Kyle, it was policemen ordering the people, getting into the warehouse and taking off the food and telling them you have been hungry. Get in and get what you can go and eat with your family.
Wow.
In the midst of that chaos, that suggests to you something is brewing up. It might not be planned, but it is literally something that every human that is in the leadership position should be scared, because even those you give command to are now beginning to show disloyalty,
Yeah.
and that is not a good sign.
Yeah.
So
These are clips of the instance that
That's what's it.
Stephen
So
is talking about.
is this what you're saying? Is that this is happening today? Or this
yes,
happened today?
yes. So
Yeah.
That was the warehouse.
again, if you want to see that happening, look at what could happen literally for the solution within the country. Christians, those who are Christians, should be able to own up to their understanding of Christianity and fight for the common good. Those who are in leadership, whether Christian or not Christian, should understand the sanctity of life and the sacredness of life to be able to now make denunciation of things that are there. Because, like I said, you find organized coincidences that will literally, with some of us, we believe there are some strategies involved in them, either with the security chiefs, either closing their eyes to it, or literally allowing such plans slip through their hands. We don't know, but we can tell for sure that these are literally a situation, that indication that they can change it because they have the power to do that.
Yeah.
Now, internationally wise, we would plead with every Nigerian that is within or outside to speak out. This is the only moment to be quiet. Like my pastor said, it is never wisdom. This is the only time that everyone who has conscience can speak out. To literally say this should stop and make a cry, a rallying cry, because Nigeria is crashing. And people need help. People need help. People are hungry. People are traumatized. The level of trauma in this place, Kyle, it's beyond the idea of you could transport every kind of trauma healing therapist around here.
That's right. Yeah. This is sad. You know, this is it. This is the thing. The time is now. The momentum's there. How and what needs to be said are the biggest things. So I think, you know, this is the time. You know, the time is now. I think you said it well. I think any last thoughts, brother, that we can share?
Yeah, well, just again, I want to thank you for the good work. Keep speaking for Nigeria and keep praying for Nigeria, encouraging us. But I want to tell every Nigerian, there is a place for you to fight for the future of the next generation.
Amen.
And what we mean by that, it's that your voice can be heard and you can literally, like the woman who sought for justice. Justice is never sought with violence, but justice is sought by persistence. We have to persist for what is right.
Amen.
And this is the only golden time. It's a glorious time. It's not a dooming time. But when we sit down and fold our hands, I'm scared.
Yeah, great. Yeah, good words. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your action and your involvement as well. So we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for coming on and joining us. We are with you there in Nigeria, and we do have concern about a lot of these things, and we're so grateful that, you know, we even have the technology to meet and to discuss these things in this way. And you have really, you know, said a lot that has opened up our knowledge to more of the situation on ground and what is happening, you know.
Amen.
So we are grateful.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Our next guest is ready in the room. Friend of mine, and also a serious advocate working for Nigerian issues, especially from the UK. He's been helping with the involvement of international pressure on Nigeria to bring cases forward and whatnot. He's part of the International Organization for Peace Building, or Peace and Social Justice, and he's based out of London. So I would say give it up. We don't have a fan base, but let's bring in Pastor Ayo. Pastor Ayo, how are you, sir?
Very good, thank you. How are you, Kyle?
Great.
Good to see you. Good
thanks
to
for
see you
joining.
as well, AJ. Great to see
Hey,
you there.
Mr. Pastor Ayo, nice to see you again.
Likewise.
Great. So, yeah, I mean, you've been involved, doing what we do in the States, in the UK. What is your situation like in the UK? Not just EndSARS movement protests, but just generally. What is Nigeria? What's the concern or the understanding of Nigeria in the UK?
Yeah, well, there's a growing awareness, Kyle, of the matters related to Nigeria in the UK. As you're aware, the UK hosts a massive Nigerian diaspora, and we're only a few hours away from Lagos, from Abuja.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're on the same time zone at the moment. This weekend will be 1 hour difference. So there is a massive diaspora here, and so as you can imagine, there's a growing concern, certainly amongst the community, but increasingly as we work to bring awareness, there is a growing awareness amongst others in the UK as well, amongst our government, amongst our policymakers, and of course, these last few weeks with the EndSARS protests and the Lekki massacre, as you can imagine, there's been so many more people who are getting familiar with the situation. The Nigerian community in the UK has really risen up. There have been several protest marches, there have been prayer walks all over the place, and these are continuing. There will be there is this weekend as well, today, tomorrow. We have organized for there to be a debate in the UK Parliament on this matter to do with Nigeria. And so I'm seeing a lot of engagement on the matters of Nigeria. And like my brother Stephen said earlier, this is a moment in time.
Yep.
It is an opportunity for us to seize this moment and use it for the betterment of the nation, which in turn is going to lead to a better region, a better Africa altogether.
Yeah, I mean, so like, what is so politically, I know the parliament and the prime minister, have they been addressing this issue of Nigeria? Have they been, I know that we've have our advocates there, Baroness Cox and Lord Elton and such, but are other MPs or other people also sharing the concerns and the need to have attention on Nigeria, not just with this EndSARS, but overall?
Yeah, well, I think, you see, EndSARS is helping to bring even further attention to this. Everyone is familiar with Nigeria. Nigeria is a great ally of the UK or vice versa. There's lots of relationships going on so many different fronts. But as you know, Carl, with our campaign around silent slaughter, there is stuff going on which a lot of people are not fully aware of. And we've been working to help bring this to the attention of all relevant people. Some people whose attention it has been brought to have been choosing to stick to a narrative that may not necessarily be the reality on ground. So in a sense, this renewed attention around EndSARS has got some positivity to it because it provides an opportunity to talk about the entire security architecture of the nation. It talks, we're advocating for peace and for social justice for all people on all issues. And so I think when I think about how much engagement is happening, I know there have been statements released by the Foreign Secretary expressing his concern. There have been questions that have been asked in Parliament by the Shadow Foreign Secretary, by several other MPs that are even different from the usual suspects who normally speak into this matter.
Yeah.
We did have a meeting with some of the advisors to the Prime Minister. I'm sure very soon we'll hopefully hear from him directly on this matter. As you know, the British are the masters of soft power advocacy. So I'm
Yeah.
sure there's conversations going on behind the scenes,
Yeah.
but what's at hand right now really does need open conversations that carries along everybody.
Yeah.
Pastor Ayo, let me ask you,
Mm.
because like I know a lot of times, like when we hear about persecution that is happening, like I didn't really. I feel like I had like a little view on persecution before I started to look into it and what was happening in
Yeah.
Nigeria, even as a Nigerian, you know. And can you speak to the other parts of persecution that people are not aware of? Like, what is the aftermath of it? Because just then, even hearing, you know, what then happens to like the women and children in Nigeria, you know, some of the attacks that are just done basically on just men, just so that the women would suffer with the children, or you know, things like that. What like l- l- what is there beyond the and persecution that we just know that it's just like the basics that we can speak
Yeah.
to?
I mean, unfortunately, the additional sides to the persecution is that there is, it just really disintegrates society altogether. There is a direct effects, there are then the indirect effects.
Mm-hmm.
And it just leaves communities, families in tatters.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're seeing that. The only thing is, you see, Nigeria is a complex mix of several different issues, all seemingly happening at the same time.
Yeah.
But if we were to dive into the persecution issues, the people who have obviously stated that their aim is to attack Christians, or the ones who are doing it anyway without stating that that is what their aim is, it really is not lining up with any of the values that we profess as a nation. And that really is why government has to rise up and take responsibility.
Yeah.
Any government that is serious about keeping the nation together, that's standing on the values that we talk about in our national anthem or in our pledge, really needs to be doing a lot more. And that's why I cannot emphasize enough the significance of this moment where, led by the young people, there has been a rising up saying there is great potential in this nation. We have got the ability to fix all of the issues.
Yeah.
It's not going to take time. I mean, it's not going to be necessarily a quick fix. It's not necessarily going to be overnight. But we do have the intellectual capacity, the human capacity, the ability, the will, and the power to surmount these issues. But we have to be led by a government with a political will to make that happen.
Yeah.
And if the government in power does not have the political will to do that, then other people who have the right mind and attitude to do it should really be seeking to be in positions to be able to do that.
Right, and I think, you and I know this, right? I mean, the whole international community is not here to save the day. We're not going to rush in. The UK government, the American government is not going to come in, boom, 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 and say, "Hey, we're here." We're here to keep the government accountable. You know, that's the main thing. You know, the rule of law. It's not happening. The police are not doing their job, but they're outlined to do. The army's not doing their job, not stopping the people. People are dying every day. You and I have seen that. We mark that on our tracker every day. But things have changed, and you said this, and we said this at the top. The things have changed forever in Nigeria because the youth have realized they're powerful, how powerful they are. And what they can achieve when they unite for this common goal. So I think that's the important thing we have, and that's something we need to continue to push.
Hey,
So
absolutely. You know, we live in a global community, and if the international community does not stand up behind what is right and good for Nigeria, it eventually impacts the whole. And so we're all in this together.
Yep.
Kyle, before Pastor Ayo heads off, can we just show the tracker and then he can just kind of explain it to
let me get the tracker on. So I mean,
people,
So as I'm getting the tracker up on screen, Pastor, do you have anything to share? You want to share about your event on November 20th? Is that a public event or is that an invitation only?
Yeah, I mean, on the 20th of November, we've got a conference, which is going to be a digital conference, so everyone can join in from across the globe to really take a look at some of the key issues going on in Nigeria and seek to unpack them. We will have the former president of Nigeria, President Obasanjo, join in. Part of that, but we will be having a lot of other speakers, panelists, interviewees from across the globe taking part in that. So yes, please do sign up to be a part of that. It'll be a great opportunity for us, not just to talk about the issues, but to prefer solutions to Nigeria's issues. You know, even after the president's speech on Thursday, a lot of work has been going on behind the scene, just looking at solution-based approaches to what's going on. You know, it's not good enough for us to keep saying the president didn't do this, didn't do that. Well, listen, what can you and I do? What can we do? And let's at least be doing that in the meantime.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Great. So let me show the last thing before I let you go. This is the Silence Letter. SilenceSlaughterNigeria.com. We have your information for the partners for the PSJ UK website on the bottom, but this is the tracker as we're seeing on the screen now. So we've kept up. We have people on the ground in Nigeria reporting every day what's going on. So we see that this is October. So you see on the 1st, two abducted. On the 3rd, Saturday, 10 deaths. On the 5th, 6 deaths. So we keep a record of this, and it goes back. We started this in January, and it goes back. And people use this to say, "Look, this is what's happening. This is terrible." It's putting numbers to dates, and it's linked to sources from the media sources that show these things are happening. So, I mean, this, you know, we've marked over 3,100 deaths since this. We started marking this in January. It's unforgivable.
You know, the key points to highlight here is this, that each one of these numbers represents a life. These people these are families that are impacted, that are going through tragedies. And the vast majority of people don't know anything about this. Yes, we're aware of Chibok girls. We're aware of Leah Sharibu, the 1 or 2 highlight cases. But the tragedy and the pain that the people that all of those numbers represent is no less significant. And that's why you and I have to keep on doing what we're doing to raise this plight so that this could not become part of our normal day-to-day narrative. This has to become a thing of the past.
Yep. Great. So appreciate your time, your efforts. We work together. I think this is, it's important time, as you said, and I think we just got to build on it. You know, this is the time.
Absolutely.
This is the momentum. So appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Great.
And
have a great evening.
See you again, AJ.
Yep.
You have a good one, sir. Thank you so much.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, and please, people, if you want to access that tracker, you can go to iconhelp.org and look up Silent Slaughter, and it will.
It's also on the bottom too. So there's a link from our website.
Okay, there you go.
We also have our book. If you want to see our manual, it's iconhelp.org, and then it's /silent-slaughter, and it comes up with the tracker as well as the report that we came out with, over 300 pages of report.
Yep.
So that was great. I think we again, this is a global thing. This is a global movement that's gathering momentum. I like the snowball thing. I'm not sure people in Nigeria can relate to snowball, but those who travel know snow is, once you roll it in the snow, it gets bigger and huge. So this is getting huge. So
yeah. And
AJ, why don't you?
Okay.
Go ahead.
So our next person coming up is Mr. Ofi, really awesome person, great friend of mine. And Kyle's also. Ofi.
Hey, AJ. Hey, Kyle.
Greetings.
Hey, how are you?
And
good to see you, man.
Good afternoon from the East Coast.
Yeah,
that's right.
And Kyle, you may not remember this, but I met you back in 1996.
Oh, wow.
You came to Makurdi
Yeah.
with the Breakaway Band, Steve
Yeah.
Yako.
Yeah.
You came to the gangs in the
Okay.
University of Agriculture,
Yeah.
Makodi.
Yeah.
And the first thing that struck me was you spoke in Hausa and you were speaking to the guys during setup, and you're like,
I have never heard you speak in Hausa before.
Kedan, Babu, Damagana.
But yeah, it's awesome to connect with you guys again.
Great.
AJ, it's been a while, and thank you guys for
Yeah.
having me. I've been listening for the last bit, and it's pretty awesome. I'm also friends with Alheri Magaji, who was here last year,
Yeah.
Kyle, and was speaking with people on Capitol Hill and
Yeah.
different interest groups. And thank you guys so much for what you guys do and the work that you're tirelessly putting together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So were you? Did you come around to DC with us? Were you there?
I wasn't there.
Okay,
I didn't
okay.
know about it until she was over here.
Yeah.
But she and I had a long discussion, I think the last day, and she filled me in. I think she did send me someone's phone number. I can't remember who exactly she did.
Okay.
I was supposed to have gotten in touch, but I couldn't. But we definitely should link up and continue some discussions even after this.
Yeah. No, that's great. So you're based here now, and you've seen what's happening in Nigeria from afar, but you're still engaged. You've got family there, you've got friends there.
Indeed.
What is your take on all this? I mean, what is happening right now that you see as a pivotal moment, or is this something that it's going to fade away too?
I'm going to take a step back to the work I did in Nigeria. I was a broadcast journalist, host of Abuja's most listened to morning show, talk station on Nigeria Info, the Morning Crossfire. For 6 years, I was producer and presenter of that show. And I got to learn firsthand from a lot of witnesses, a lot of victims, a lot of people in the trenches, or in the facets of a lot of the things that were driving the current protests. Yeah. And so what's interesting is that even beyond the current administration, there have been pockets of calls to address a lot of the issues around social justice. Yeah. I heard you guys talking with Stephen and with Pastor Ayo, and some of these issues have already been raised. You have issues surrounding an abject abuse of the rule of law. You're having police and other security operatives who are engaged in extortion and extrajudicial killings. Yeah. You have outright persecution of Christians and other religious groups. You have the balkanizations of entire communities and ethnic groups by other ethno-religious groups. You're also looking at the downright failure of practically every institution, from education to health, security, power. I watched the interesting exchange that happened with Steve and how he had that blackout.
Yeah, that's right.
You're having all of that. And also, because I was in the press, the abuse of the press. And like I said, this has transcended. It's not just about this current administration, even though everything has come to a head. Nigerians thought that things would get better. It's been steadily seeping and sinking into an abyss, as it were. So even in the last 2 years, I finally moved in 2018 to the United States. I haven't been back since 2018. But I have had, I've still been carrying on with my duties, some of my duties on the radio station I worked for. And I've also been very active in gleaning from eyewitnesses and people who have experienced some of these things. Right. I think it's important that we have these discussions. I know that sometimes people want to sneer at those of us who don't have boots on the ground, as it were. But I think that every discussion, every syllable, that is used to address the concerns adds to the snowball, and hopefully becomes an avalanche.
Yeah, yes.
That actually begins to sweep, and that's what exactly we saw in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. That the pockets of resistance, the pockets of concerns, the pockets of discussions actually came to the protest. And like Steve had said, whoever thought that we would see Nigerians take en masse, regardless of their status, regardless of their religion, regardless of their political affiliation, and actually get to the streets. And unfortunately, people lost their lives. But even in the face of danger, and paying the ultimate price. You saw Nigerians, young Nigerians, saying, "Well, if we perish, we perish.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that our voice is heard and that something is done about our concerns."
And that's it. So the whole time, I mean, the snowball's rolling. So we've, as you know, with Al Hari and others, we've been working to raise the awareness on Fulani militant attacks, Boko Haram, just the genocide that's happening in Nigeria. And we've always tried to say, what's it gonna take to get the people in Lagos to rise up? What's it gonna take to get people in Port Harcourt to say this is an issue, this is a concern? Here it is. So EndSARS is a part of the whole problem of Nigerian government, failure to address situations, failure to provide a flourishing society for people, for businesses. There's no shame for you coming over to the U.S. to do your business. You provided a voice. There's people like Dr. Obadiah Melafia. There's people like Shawari who are stifled and brought down and not even allowed to share just their opinions, right? So I think your being here is provided probably more avenues and more opportunities than you would have been able to do in Nigeria. So there's no shame in that.
Of course. One of the things I usually use as a comeback, and in fact, I had to use that this morning, speaking with somebody all the way. Actually, she's in New York and was saying that, well, why, those of us in the diaspora, why do we speak about it? One of the things I've always said, an illustration is, while Nelson Mandela was in apartheid South Africa in prison, Thabo Mbeki was in Nigeria in exile. But both of them became president of the same nation. So your location shouldn't be a thermostat for your patriotism. Regardless of where you are, every part that you can contribute is important. Definitely.
But Ofi, let me ask you. So, like you said, Nelson Mandela, and that's like one thing that like I've always thought about. Has Nigeria ever had like a Nelson Mandela, a Martin Luther King, Gandhi, that like, you know, that like everyone they can say, yes, this is who lifelessly, selflessly defended everyone, brought everyone together? Because, you know, like even being here within the States and just listening to like a lot of the politics, you know, if you kind of see like how it goes, you know, people want leaders that will bring jobs, that will bring progress to the community and would protect the interests of these certain communities. But in Nigeria, like it's almost like everyone just wants to enter government to go and do the same thing over again, you know? So, I mean, is it that leadership for us to, for us to just focus like on leadership, is that like the way to go, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I hit something. My bad. But I got your question about, you know, I don't think we've ever had a Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
We've never had a Martin Luther King or a Mahatma Gandhi or Lee Kuan Yew. Mm-hmm. And it's both a good thing and a bad thing. And I'll say why. It's a bad thing because Nigeria's biggest failing is not the corruption. It's not the lack of infrastructure. It's not the loss of life, as horrible as that is, or any of the aforementioned are. The biggest problem is that we've never had a leader or leaders or a set of leaders that cast a national vision or ideology. And so here in America, the founding fathers and everybody thereafter rallied around that one mission of liberty. Running from the oppression of the monarchy in Europe, you had people who were interested in saying, look, never again. We're going to have liberty. In France, it's equality, égalitaire, of everybody is equal. And that's what has driven the development of these great nations. In South Africa, it's the same thing. In Nigeria, our founding fathers, Nnamdi Azikiwe, the Sultan Ahmadu Bello, Obafemi Awolowo, Anthony Nahoro, all those guys, none of them actually cast a national ideology or a national vision for us as a country. Unfortunately, from the get-go, we had people who were interested in regional and sectional agendas. There was nobody casting a national agenda. And I think what we saw with the EndSARS was a similitude. And for a long time, I used to say this on my radio show,
Yeah.
and lots of people agreed, and lots of people, spat on it. And I used to say this. I said, Nigerians has to have a national ideology, and it has to be centered around justice. Because if you look at the dictionary definition of justice, justice is not just about, what happens in court. The definition of justice is what is reasonable and fair.
Yeah.
Lots of times we camp on the fair side, but it's also about what's reasonable. So while it might not be a crime to hate somebody, it's not reasonable.
Yeah.
While it might not be a crime to not like a person because of their race, their sex, their religion, or whatever it is, it's not reasonable. And so justice is not just about fairness, it's about being what's reasonable. And as we look at Nigeria, some of the things that we complain about are things that people have either not been fair about or have just been literally unreasonable about.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing. So everybody has been stung by injustice in Nigeria, from being told that you can't buy fuel or gasoline at the pump price. You have to go get it next door at the black market rate. From being denied admission into a university. For 4 years after high school, I couldn't get into college. And my father's a college professor. I couldn't get into college because, for whatever reasons.
Yeah.
Everybody's been stung. Why is it that in the southern part of Nigeria, we have such high cutoff marks for people to get into secondary schools or colleges, and up north, they're abysmally low?
Yeah.
And so it's all of that. And I think this was a rallying cry for Nigerians to bandy around justice, to say enough is enough. And I think a point one of you guys made earlier was that, it was just like it was just a klaxon for everything else. So it went from EndSARS, and then it started being about bad governance. Went to be about COVID relief. It just snowballed into everything else.
Into all this,
so I think even though we haven't had a Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, or whatever, I think this is a time where it might not just be one person, might not just be one icon. It might just be 1,000 foxes with fire on their tails.
And that is scary.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
It is.
What's your, I listened to, what's his name? I don't know if you call him Papa or whatever, Adeboye, when he spoke on Independence Day. He was supposed to give a prayer. Instead, he gave a whole lecture on how he thinks Nigeria should change.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this guy doing? I mean, I don't have a problem with Christians, especially Christian leaders, talking about politics, but instead of addressing the situation, he's trying to throw a whole new problem into the works. I mean, you look at when he said that, and I agree, we agree on this, that, the traditional rulers have been tossed aside. Yeah. I mean, they're not respected anymore because they haven't been brought in the conversation. Look what happened to the Oba in Lagos. They were ransacked his palace. Yeah. You have people calling for traditional, and you have other people saying, "Oh, the Federal Character Commission is still active and it needs to be employed more." Those two things are there: the traditional rulers and leaders, and also the FCC, the Federal Character Commission. Can those things still be restored or resurrected, or are they just kind of failed as well, or just a plot or a ploy for the government?
I think the reason the traditional rulers and the whole institutions that they represent, as well as the modern structures like the FCC, the ICPC, EFCC, and all the other Cs that we have, the reason they failed was because of the cultural failure. So here you have affirmative action, and even while there are critiques of that, which is what we call federal character, the reason, even here in the United States with affirmative action, you still see development. And in Nigeria, you have federal character, and then you see so much underdevelopment, is because the underlying foundation of federal character is also bias. That's the one thing that kills us in Nigeria, where there is so much bias. Corruption exists everywhere. Underdevelopment in some shape or form exists in every nation. There's police brutality and corruption everywhere. Yeah. What makes ours so horrible is the penchant for bias and prejudice, such that when a person is caught, they're not sanctioned. You begin to determine where they worship, where they're from, who their political alliance is with. and truth is sacrificed on the altar of prejudice. And I think the reason the traditional rulers have failed is because of that bias. And so the Oba of Lagos can't speak to an issue in Kano. The Emir in Kano can't speak to an issue in Onitsha, because who are you to speak to us? It's not whether it's true or not. It's about who you are. It's not about the message. It's about the messenger. And so you have people over time just not respecting those offices anymore, not respecting those entire institutions, and even the modern institutions, the ICPC, the EFCC. Yeah. We saw how the EFCC was going after political opponents instead of all politically exposed persons. Yeah. And so I think we need to go back. By training, I'm a sociologist. And so even though I went into media and broadcasting, I tend to look at society as a sociologist. Yeah. And the other day I was on Twitter speaking about the behaviorist paradigm in sociology and how that ties into Max Weber's approach with the Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism, and how nobody really set out to create capitalism, but because of the preaching of certain persons like John Calvin, Knox and Tyndale and all of those all across Northern and Western Europe, people began to think in a certain way, and that created their social reality. Yeah. We have been, whether it's religious or cultural institutions in Nigeria, have been speaking in a certain way, and that has created our social reality. And so whether it was before colonialism, through the colonial years, and after we gained independence, and then the military years, 30 years, a whole generation of people were under military rule. And so we right now, there are discussions about going back to military rule because of how disappointed people are with democracy. And the problem is, it's not democracy, it's how we have practiced democracy. It's not perfect anywhere. Yeah, but the way we've practiced it is what has made it so disappointing, because we have not made it government of, for, and by the people. We've made it government of, for, and by the politicians. So it's about let them do, and we'll just have that. Yeah.
So let me just ask you, lastly here, so what is this thing about, like, how like I have heard like some people say that a lot of the Nigerian leaders are like leaders that ruled the country at a different time. It's the same leaders that just came back again, and then came and said that they need to, and one after the other, it's like they're being president again and again and again. So how does that all come in? And then what type of system does Nigeria need where it's a fair balance of power, where things are transferred from one person to the next in a clear democratic way to bring the change that the people need?
It's very true. In 1999, lots of people were skeptical. Sorry, 1998, when there was an announcement of elections, lots of people were skeptical about the return to democratic rule. And I'm talking about middle-class Nigerians, about people who had been activists during the Abacha years and lots of military rule. Mm-hmm. So you had lots of them not getting involved in politics. Yeah. They were not involved in the parties. They were not involved as delegates. They were not involved even when they went to the polls. People still just didn't vote. Mm-hmm. And so what happened was that you saw lots of the upper class who were the military boys and the big time businessmen who always hobnobbed with the people in power, and then the very poor who are now their thugs, their area boys get involved. In fact, there's a current minister right now in Nigeria who was a thug for a governor in the South. He was a thug. He was an area boy. He was a Yambanga, but he moved up the ranks. He gained legitimacy because he hobnobbed with the people in power. Mm-hmm. And so Nigerians have to get involved. This is my joy with the EndSARS movement. You guys have ties in Jos, and I don't know if you've heard about it. That with the ban, or with the call to say, okay, no more protests or the curfews, what they're doing now is to go house to house to begin to educate people about what EndSARS was about and about their approach to engaging government.
Yeah.
And you're seeing calls all across Nigeria. And I know this is one of the questions you were asking earlier, was that what next?
Mm-hmm.
People need to get involved. We can't sit by and say, well, the military boys. Goodluck Jonathan was the first person since 1999 to be involved in government, be president or Senate president or vice president that was not affiliated to the military or to the Nigerian Civil War. He was the first person. I mean, look at Obasanjo. The Yaraduas were very, very key in the Civil War. Buhari, of course, nobody needs to go down memory lane with him. You had people like David Mark. You had all the brigadiers and all the military men, the generals who were very involved. So Nigerians have to get involved. We have to begin to speak up. In 2017, a couple of people and I began to speak about translating the Nigerian constitution into at least 50 Nigerian local languages. And just yesterday, I went to Twitter and began to speak up again about people contributing. Between last night and this morning, I've literally been on my phone responding to people who are going to contribute their voice talent, their translation, their copywriting, and they're saying that they're going to do it for free. People are beginning to send in money to say, let's go ahead and translate the Constitution so that people in villages, people who are not literate, English literacy should not be a barrier to development.
Yeah.
There are lots of people in Germany, in Indonesia who don't speak English, but their countries are still developed because they know what the laws and the Constitution say, and so they can engage elected officials. And so this is one of the things that I'm doing. A couple of people are doing. I know there's so many other things people are doing on social media, like I said about JOS and so many other places. And I think this is the way to go. People need to begin to get involved. Nigerians need to realize that they have power. Sovereignty is with the people. It is not with people in government. We keep using the phrase, oh, Jonathan was in power. Buhari is in power. They're not in power. They're in authority. We have power. And the average Nigerian needs to begin to understand that we have the power. And we can say when a person stays or not.
Yeah. And I think that's the whole thing. So in summary, I mean, before we let you go, it's all about, it's a movement of the people, by the people, for the people. I mean, that's old. We've done this since the beginning of protests started, but it has to be kept at that level. As soon as you start to organize, you've got to keep it strong. So we appreciate your time, and we'll keep in touch now.
Thank you, AJ. Definitely.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming around. Please follow Ofi there. There is his Twitter handle. Talk with him. He knows a lot, and I think that's what it's all about. Learning about the history, learning about why things are the way that they are, so that we can make better decisions and not get caught up in the same loop again. All right, so Ofi, thanks
a lot, gentlemen.
Great.
Yeah, have a great day. Kyle, do you want to talk about the Benjamin Watson town hall?
Okay, so next week, speaking on being aware and making your voices heard, and you have a platform for it. Next week, Tuesday, October 27th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S., but it's a global event. So if you want to log on with Zoom, there's the RSVP, the bit.ly/icon Watson event, or if you just want to watch it streaming on this platform like we're doing now, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, we can do that. Obviously, it's free. Benjamin Watson, the former NFL National Football League football star, strong Christian, strong advocate for people around the world, especially here in the U.S., African American, will be joining us along with John Stonestreet from Colson Center and Breakpoint. And then a few other guests from Nigeria will be speaking and sharing about the Christian persecution in Nigeria. And it's coming also on the tailwinds of this EndSARS stuff as well. But the whole thing is to get Americans, Christians in America, aware of what's going on in Nigeria, how best to pray, how best to be involved and engaged, because Nigerians need prayer and they need to have a voice, and we could be that voice for them in the national scene. So.
Yeah, I did put a link for the registration in the description of our live stream here, so you can just go there and click it and register. We please ask you to, and I think that that's just the thing. It's important that everyone finds a cause, find something that you can attach yourself to and just be a part of. There are so many things that are happening all over the world, and we just need to try to engage. We need to just try to be a part of those
Yep.
things. So it's really, really important. All right. So the next person that we have is Hemby, Hemberdon, and she is in Canada. And we just wanted to hear, hey, Hemberdon, Hemby, how are
Hi,
you?
I'm fine. How are you guys doing?
We are doing awesome. So good to see you.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be on here. Thank you so much for this platform that you're sharing. You're giving the world the opportunity to share, and people from all over the world to just join the conversation. And it's so good to hear what Icon is doing. And yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Great. Welcome.
How
Thank you.
how is Canada? How is work and everything that's going on there? Can you just tell us just a little bit about yourself too, and just
Okay, so I basically live and work in Canada. I am a school teacher. I've been living here for the past 5 years, and it's been a journey for me, getting to live in a different part of the world that I grew up in, and so it's been a learning curve. It's been a great experience generally. So and of course, what's going on in our country, my home country of Nigeria, is something that is very close to my heart, and so I'm glad to just be here, like sharing and being a part of the conversation.
right.
Yeah.
We've been asking all our international guests, those who are residing overseas, have you felt the Canadians understanding what's going on in Nigeria, especially now with the EndSARS protests, but also even before that with the violence, the Fulani militants, the Boko Haram? Do they fully get it? Or are they kind of, oh, with Africa, Nigeria is just a city in Africa? Do they really understand Nigeria, the nation of Nigeria, the people of Nigeria?
You know, as a nation, like I can't speak for like every Canadian and for everyone out there, but for I can speak to say that like the world that we live in, there's so much going on in different parts of the world, and some places hit closer to home than others. When you talk about neighboring countries and things that are going on around the place in which you're living, some news or some things carry more weight. But then when you have people who are from the areas in which the like such people they're affected, right? So for instance, I being Nigerian and living here, I can be able to influence and share with the people that I come in contact with and bring the realities of what my nation is going through. And so it's based on how the people you surround yourself with and the people you're in contact with. So that's how you get to know what's going on in other parts. So in Nigeria, like I've had the privilege to share a few things, my experience, my upbringing with the people that I consider my community here. And so it's a good opportunity to just grow and learn and have discussions. So in that case, I can speak for my little sphere of influence that I find myself in. So I can't speak for the rest of Canada. But yes, I would say that a lot of news, especially with everything going on now, it's definitely gaining traction. And it also depends on which part of Canada is a huge country, a huge country. So I live in northern British Columbia, and it's a small community of, well, a city, fairly big city of 12,000 people and counting. So compared to the larger, like mainstream or metropolitan cities, it's nothing. So compared to that grand scope of things. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's different.
So I just want to know, like, with all of like what you've seen and heard, like I know like when you're living outside of Nigeria, like there's always information coming in from all all them corners. And so how have you been kind of comprehending like the marching, and then some of the other stuff that has been happening like over all of this time that you have been away? Have you like, can you feel like things have changed or it's gotten worse, or like what are some of your thoughts on that?
I think the biggest part for me is like the heart of the matter, like what is going on and how much it affects myself and like many Nigerians who are especially Nigerians living in Nigeria, where you can't we're realizing the magnitude of the system of government and the politics surrounding our day-to-day lives and affairs. And so I think the biggest thing has been the heart connection, where you feel so with hearing the news and everything that's going on, there's the heartbreak. There's a heartbreak for our nation, where you feel you're almost connected to the motherland, and you just feel that heartbreak. You feel the pain that
Yeah.
people have been going through for years, right? And
Yeah.
you're realizing deep how deep that pain is. And for me, that has been the biggest thing, like being able to like, and I still can't imagine what it is for my friends and my family who are in the midst of what is going on. So that is huge. That is huge, to be in on ground right now. I call them like the frontline workers in this situation, right? The frontline workers who are actually out there on the streets, who are letting their voice be heard beyond just social media, right? So they are there. Okay, so I have friends and I have family who are there in person, who are experiencing it firsthand. So it's definitely heartbreaking, but it's also, in terms of a change, I do believe is a change. I do believe more than ever is a change. I can't explain how much important, for the first time, even it's giving me hope for my country, giving me
Yeah.
hope for the future of my country, where it's almost like I am seeing my nation united. It's
Yeah.
united. It's united on a good cause, on a basic human need cause,
Yeah.
which is justice. We're united for justice. We want to see a change in our country, and it's no longer where it's almost like we're breaking all the divisions that we've had in the past, whether it's religious differences or cultural differences. And not to say that these don't exist anymore, but for the first time, we're all like joining our voices to the cause. And to even see people in diaspora and people who are there, like we're all connecting together, we're all trying to have our voices heard, because we believe that a change can happen. And
Yeah.
so it's so good. I feel like it's a good time to be hopeful. It's a good time to believe. It's a good time to connect. It's a good time to pray. It's a good time to hold on to those promises and dreams and desires that we have for our nation. And so it's a great time for sure.
If you could ask, like, I didn't want you to ask the question before I'm Canada. I don't want you to speak on behalf of all Canadians, but I appreciate your answer. That's great. I think it's important for people to know that, you are the voice for Nigeria in your circle of influence, at your school, in your church, wherever. Like, what if you could have an hour with them, or if you were on an elevator with them and you had 2 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever, what would you share with them to challenge them to become more aware? And what would you ask them to do to help raise those voices for those persecuted, those vulnerable people in Nigeria?
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say, let me just start by saying that like what you guys are already doing is such a huge help, and being able to connect this way makes a whole lot of difference. And so if I am in an elevator with people and I want them to know what is going on, like I would say that I would like to say that it's important. It's an important time for our nation. It's a very critical time for our nation, and we are holding on to truth and justice, and we want to see a change in our government. We want to see a change in our police system. We want to see a change in every area of our lives, but we also want to bring awareness to the people who don't, give voices to those who don't have voices, who can't speak for themselves, or whether we are divided based on different barriers, whether it's religious barriers or whatever the case. We want to be heard. We want to be united. We want to be united, and we want the world to know. With the EndSARS movement and everything going on, I think for the first time that we can also see that solidarity on the internet, right, where we're using social media and we're using all forms of platforms to just spread the message, letting people know, so it could be as simple. Of course, you want to fact check, like that is very important. We want to make sure that we're passing out like legitimate news, and there's good. You're not passing out fake news, so that's very important. But at the same time, you want to make people aware. You want to share this information. We want the world to know. I can't tell you how heartbreaking, I'm going to use that word again, it is to hear the news coming from Nigeria, where the government is denying the fact that people actually lost their lives. The 20th of October, last Tuesday, where we're calling Black Tuesday in Nigeria. Like, that is heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. So if there's any time to speak up, it's now. If there's any time to let people know what is going on, it is now. So we like sharing, just share, have people. I think the biggest thing, and this also happened during Black Lives Matter as well, you don't have to be a Black person, you don't have to be a person of color, you don't have to have experienced it, right? Like, there's so many things that the average Nigerian experiences every day that even I myself, I haven't really experienced personally. So I cannot claim that I know what every single Nigerian needs or desires, but there are general truths of life and justice and fairness and equality that we cannot deny, that we need to stand and in the gap for people, and stand in the gap for ourselves and for our future and for the future generations. So letting people know the truth, letting people know what's going on is very critical. It's very critical. We want the world to know what's going on. We want to bring awareness because it's important. It's not just important to Nigerians, it's important as a humanity factor. It's important to the human race. It's important to the human race as a human justice situation. So so that's what I want people to know.
MB, thank you so much. We're really proud of what you're doing as a teacher. Teachers really go through a lot, and I think we really have to do a better job of supporting our teachers and those that are at the front line with our kids every day, and giving so much of themselves and their lives to helping societies grow by educating these children to be better citizens and better people. So thank you so much for what you do, and continue to keep it real in Canada. What part of Canada are you from? Is it I didn't catch that.
Okay, so it's in northern BC. It's a little city called Dawson Creek.
Okay.
So it's in northern
Dawson
BC.
Creek.
Yeah, AJ, it's not the TV show. AJ, no, come on.
Not like the
British
TV show.
British Columbia. Western, yeah.
Yes. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Great. Thanks again. Thanks for sharing.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the great work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you too.
Okay.
Great. Wow, good.
Oh.
Click.
I think we clicked at the same time.
Yeah, it's two producers in the studio. Shouldn't be doing that. Who's next, AJ? We gotta keep going up. Maybe about 10 more minutes. So I think we got 2 more guests. Who's next?
I think we have Mr. Jeremiah here.
Bring him in. There he is.
Jeremiah.
Welcome.
Okay.
How are you, Mr.
Good
Jeremiah?
evening, Mr. AJ and Kyle. Fine,
Yes.
I'm good.
Good. Welcome.
And
How's your day going?
Yeah, everything is going really good. Everything is great.
Okay, awesome.
We have just been trying to find out what has been happening in Nigeria, and just how people have been responding to the protests. And you are in Kaduna, right?
Okay. Exactly. I'm in Kaduna.
And
as we
what
speak
has been
right now,
happening
I'm in
there?
Kaduna.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we
there's
can
a
hear
little
you.
delay, but
Am
we
I
can
coming
hear you.
through?
Yep. Can you hear us?
Okay. I can hear you.
Okay, so just speak to what's been happening in Kaduna. What has been happening with the protests? Like, what's
Okay,
been going
it's
on?
all right. I actually am from Kaduna State here in Nigeria. Kaduna South local government to be precise. That's where I reside in, and we woke up this morning today to a very unusual event today.
Yeah,
Uh, During the lockdown, there were palliatives that were given to help assuage some of this hardship, some of the hardship people were going through, and we had those palliatives hoard in a place in some warehouses around the state. They weren't given to the people, and the public got to find out, and people went about vandalizing those houses and carting away with some of those palliatives. Now this is what has been going on around the country. We've seen that in Lagos. We've seen that in Calabar. We've also seen that uh, in
Jos.
Ibadan, where people went away with motorcycles. Here in Kaduna State, we never expected something like this will happen. In fact, nobody even believed there was a warehouse with some of these palliatives loaded in them,
Yeah.
and people went about breaking some of those houses. As I speak to you right now, the state is part of the state is on a 24 hours curfew.
Oh
All
wow.
right. That's where I reside now, exactly. We are on a 24 hours curfew. It's expected that nobody goes out. You go out, you'll be dealt with. Now, this is the challenge right now. As regards the COVID, as regards the EndSARS protest and how it has affected Kaduna State.
Hmm.
Kaduna State actually protested. The youth came out and protested, but uh, yeah, that's a live feed from Jos. I think that's Jos. It happened in
That's the
Jos.
Joss one. Yep.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
Jos one. It happened in Jos
Yep.
and it happened in Kaduna as well. You
Uh,
know, things have been happening, but we thank God that there has been relative peace with regards to vandalization, hostilities, people going against each other. We've not really had such an experience of talks coming out to attack protesters and all that. And
Yeah.
we really thank God for the tempo here. It's kind of low. It's not, but I think all the curfew. It's actually a measure put in place by the governor to see the avoid any further destruction of society. That's basically what's happened. What happened exactly today?
So let me ask you this, like Kyle, have you ever wondered about like how whenever they say that they're putting a place on lockdown, how do people get food?
On
How do
curfew.
they,
Yeah,
Curfew.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
like how do they
exactly.
navigate through it? Because yeah, probably at the time it's the right thing to do, but what is the organization of it? So has
Yeah.
there been any kind of organization that has happened towards helping people out during the lockdown? Because people people like in the local areas, they live probably on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
So let's say if you have a lockdown for about a week, then what happens, with the
I mean,
organization?
it's all what all happens. I mean, Jeremiah can attest to this. Is that you've locked people down since March, April.
Mm-hmm.
People couldn't go to their farms at the
Yeah.
height of planting season, right?
Mhm.
So they're delayed
At
in their
all.
planting their crops. So that's going to affect their output later on this at this time.
Exactly. Exactly.
And added to that, the Fulani militants are taking over grazing. They're taking over the land of people's farms. So they're being double whammed by the can't farm, unable to farm, taken
Mhm.
over, and now you have curfew. I mean, these things are they're not well thought out as far as the economy goes. That's what I can
Mhm.
say.
Yeah.
What's your take,
Yeah.
Jeremiah, on all that?
Yeah, actually, there was actually huge tension. There was actually a huge tension because I took a live video, which I don't know. I think I kind of didn't save it, but there was actually a big tension today, which is why I believe the government had to impose that curfew. Now, the crowd, the mob went to they went to a secondary school, a girls' school called Queen Amina College. Now, the school, we have girls currently in school, and because it was said that some of the palliatives were kept in that school, and most people went there, large crowd. I mean, in their thousands. They blocked the highway there, ready to push in, but they couldn't because they were told these things are not there. Now, as part of measures to kind of curtail some of these excesses by the people, I think that was why the curfew was put in place by the state government, so that people would be in their homes and the government will be able to sort some of these things out. I don't know. I cannot say for that. I cannot speak for the government, but I'm trying to be rational about the whole thing and what I saw. Because if those guys had vandalized that secondary school where we have some of these innocent girls inside, it would have been a different story altogether. Because you don't know who some of those boys are, whether you like it or not. There are definitely going to be hoodlums among those boys. Now, so I feel what the government did. I know it's not going to take time, but it's not going to take time before they relax it. But whatever it is, I just hope they should relax it very, very soon, so that people will go about their business. Tomorrow is church. It's more like some people cannot go to church tomorrow. On Monday is work. It's more like some people will not go to work on Monday if the curfew continues. Yeah. So I feel it's part of measures to just safeguard some of our public properties.
So, I mean, in addition to the EndSARS thing, as we were talking earlier about, it spoke to people in the. Can you hear us? I may have lost him.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, can you hear us, or we have a delay?
Yeah, my network is kind of down, I think.
Okay, so
but can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine.
Okay.
Let me just ask. If you hear me, let me just ask. So, as the EndSARS has kind of reached to the youths around Nigeria, what about the situation with Fulani militants and that situation? Is that also going to rise? Is that going to be a rallying cry as well?
For the militants?
Yeah, the Fulani militants taking over land.
Okay. Okay, are you saying whether they would stop their activities or something? Or?
No, would the youth also see that as a rallying cry, especially those in Kaduna, southern Kaduna, Kagoro?
Yes. Yeah. As a matter of fact, during the protests, some of us lifted those placards for southern Kaduna as well. Secure southern Kaduna. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Some of our guys lifted placards for that, because it's all part of what the EndSARS movement is driving at, a better and a secure Nigeria, where you don't have to be scared of living in your own father's house. Okay, you don't have to be scared of going to your own inherited father's farm, all right, which was passed on to you to farm and help your life, so a lot of our people, because of the pain, because whether we like it or not, the southern Kaduna people are still in pain. The southern Kaduna people are still aggrieved with all that went through. It's not something that would be erased with a magic wand at once like that. It's not something, because people are still in pain. Now, this EndSARS movement has actually helped the boys to come out and cry out, bring peace in southern Kaduna. As a matter of fact, there was actually some rallies held in southern Kaduna in solidarity to the whole thing. And I believe that this EndSARS movement has brought in a great awakening, a great reawakening politically, in fact, socio-politically in Nigeria as a whole. Now, the people in power are fully aware of the tendencies of these people. That is to say, Nigerians have been patient for a very long time for them to go to this extent, And so I believe that this EndSARS movement has brought about a great reawakening, and I know that definitely we will see some positive results after this whole thing, except if we have an adamant leadership that don't care about the welfare of the people. But with what transpired within the last 3 weeks, seriously, I can say that everything will be looked into. As a matter of fact, security and all that, because as at last month, last month, I think beginning early last month or last upper month, Kagoro, some villages in Kagoro, their farms were attacked. And what I'm telling you is firsthand. It's not like the crops were eaten by these animals. No, they cut the crops down. They cut the crops down and fed their animals and went away with it. This thing is it's reoccurring, and it's when you talk, that's the painful part of it now. When a Southern Kaduna man speak about the pain he or she is going through, now you are seeing the other way. You are being tagged as someone very insensitive. You're being suppressed. They try to use the media to call you all sort of names, maligning you with all sorts of disdainful connotations, to your actions, which is very, very unjust as far as I'm concerned. So I feel the EndSARS movement has brought in a great awakening, and with people going at the authorities and saying it the way they feel it, I think there's definitely going to be a turn in the way things have been going over time.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, it's all we've been discussing, having the analogy of a snowball, starting small and then rolling and getting bigger. So I think you're right. This is all, issues that Southern Kaduna need to be addressed. EndSARS needs to be addressed. Fulani militants need to be stopped.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Jeremiah,
Wow.
thank you so much
Icon,
for
thank you.
Thank you for having me. You're doing a great job. I really appreciate
Thank you,
being
sir.
on this platform, and I hope that God will give you guys more grace to keep firing and seeing how we could make let's say disadvantaged areas like us better again, because sometimes our guys tend to want to feel like we are being we're not having people from that other side, from your own side, showing concern. But I think with what you are doing, you are giving us a voice to speak out, to some of these ills that are going on. And I believe that it will continue like this. And God will take us to a perfect place where peace is going to reign in our land, and people will thrive again. Things will get better. We will serve, we'll go to church, relate with each other, and walk around society without any need of being afraid of someone coming out of nowhere to kill you.
Amen.
Yep,
That's
great.
Thank you very much for this great opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
AJ. Yes, sir.
Wow, good one.
Yeah, I think it's just crazy, just like how these people are going through their own things, and it's like every part of Nigeria has its own little thing, and with the EndSARS thing, everyone has just come together where, and it's just crazy. But
it's another, we keep saying it's a rallying cry, that snowball, that's a good one. I think we're coming up to 2 hours, AJ. I think we got to wrap this up, but I see one more guest, right?
Yeah, we have two more guests. I'm trying to get the last two people that I want to get on, but because they have something really important to say that would really be awesome. But coming up next is we have Enzo.
Hi guys.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey Enzo, welcome back.
Oh my
Good
gosh.
to see you again.
It's so good to see you guys, man. It's so good, honestly. And it was such a heartfelt conversation going on with Jeremiah and the other lady from Canada as well. So I got the opportunity to listen as well. It's like, yeah,
Great, great.
yeah.
So much has happened since the last time that we were able to get on and talk.
Oh, you can say that again.
Yeah. Um, have you been following what has been happening with SARS in Nigeria, and like what is like your
Oh
thoughts
no,
on that?
I don't care about that. I've not been following. It's just whatever. Of course, I've been following. What are you talking about? I've been following.
AJ,
I am Nigerian.
She had you there, didn't she?
I am Nigerian. It doesn't matter what part of the country you are at. It doesn't matter if you're Nigerian or not. What is happening is scary, horrendous, and it's happening to humanity. It affects us all, even if we know it or not.
Yeah.
And from what, go ahead and ask your question actually, so I can talk from there. Because I know there's another person. I want to keep it very precise.
No, you're I'm good from now. Just the main thing, like I want to know like what like your thoughts are from like when it started and then how it escalated into what it is now. And I think like for us, what even concerns me more is more of like what had been happening before. Because for me, it's like I kind of feel there was always like a little disconnect between people within the villages and the people within the city. You
Yeah.
know, to a man where just a couple months ago when they were kind of persecuting one group, everyone, like kind of like things were where was this group of people that are protesting over SARS and stuff,
Now, yeah.
when they were being affected and slaughtered. But I'm also happy over the fact that there is like a common ground. There was a certain treatment that everyone knew that they have all somehow experienced, they have heard about, and they all could come together and just and say this is wrong. So what is like your take on just how it all culminated and came together, and then now it's this mighty thing where everyone is saying end SARS. We have a lot of high profile artists too that are coming in and kind of chanting it, but at the tail end again, what comes next after that? And where is the head, where is the tail, who is the leader of this monster that is moving around like this? Because we don't want it to be something that's just going to die off.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I'm going to try my best and say it according to how you asked the question. So first things first is, I guess what was going on, in my opinion, is while it was happening in certain parts of Nigeria, right, like some villages in the north, I think to most people it was like, oh my God, that is so sad, but it's not my problem. It's not happening close to where we are at. So, we're going to say it's sad. We're going to, oh my God, you're killing people, or oh my God, all this Islamic or Hausa people, right? That's just my take on it. And it's really, people just say that and nothing is really, really done, right? It's not happening next to me, so it's not my problem.
Mhm.
But what this has done right now is amplify. It has consolidated everything, because a lot of people have been taking in so much, it's a combo of so many things happening around, and then this happens, and now it's affecting people in the forefront. People in the big cities is affecting them, so now everybody's mad, and then this one is like, yo, see what's going on in my own location, and everybody's like, okay, let's come together. It's time, because we're just sick and tired of being sick and tired of taking all this. So this EndSARS has helped amplify
Yeah.
those big, but being perceived as little problems in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter where any kind of attack happens, anything that affects another human being's life, it doesn't matter what location, it is still going to have a ripple effect.
Mhm.
And that is what is going on right now. So everyone in the West, in the East, people are like recognizing it now, and people are speaking out. Now, what I'm gonna say in regards to like the same thing this guy said this morning, my mom. So like when you're in America and you get a call from people in Nigeria, like maybe 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and you're like, why are they calling me at this time? Usually, maybe they want to tell you bad news or something. So
Yeah.
for me, and when I saw that phone call, it was so painful. And to hear some of my friends or family members really talk about it. I mean, today we can see that there is a 24-hour lockdown, right?
Yeah.
And this is speaking in just as well. So the ripple effect is taking place. People are seeing all this provision meant to help the community being stored. And
Yeah.
people are like, okay, we are tired. There is no loyalty with the government. We don't owe them anything. So therefore, we need to go break those things, break those places and get our food. At the same time, is it right? No, it is not right, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's not right, but at the same time, we have to have a sense of empathy and compassion and look at where people are coming from. And as Kyle so finely said, he said something very interesting. He said, they can just, anyone can be like, the government can be like, let's just put a curfew, 24-hour curfew, but it's not well thought out. Okay, you have a curfew. What is the structure in place? How do people go and eat? It's
Yeah.
usually not well thought of. I know everyone is trying to figure things out, but a curfew is not the answer. My friend's sister, her best friend, I know it's a lot of people involved, but her child got kidnapped. She paid $3 million. I mean, 3 million naira, excuse me, with my dollars, 3 million naira. And I know, right? But but it's 3 million naira, and she was told to come back to meet her child somewhere, and she went, and the child wasn't there. She paid another 2.5. She paid 2.5 million, and she went there. The child wasn't there. But what I'm trying to say is, when people are angry, people use this opportunity to turn into monsters.
Yeah.
Okay, people go and kidnap people's children because they want money. When the police is not being paid accordingly, when they don't have good benefits, when they're being paid, excuse me, you guys, I'm trying to say something, but I have to really
No, don't
say
do
in
it. Don't do it. Don't do
yeah,
it.
I'm not gonna say
We know what you're saying.
when the police is being paid peanuts. When the police is being paid peanuts, of course they're gonna want to use that opportunity to loot regular citizens, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, you're saying EndSARS, they've disbanded SARS, but guess what they're doing? What are they doing? Are they rehabilitating those people that they're putting them in different other organizations? Are they rehabilitating them? Are they providing more benefits so that they don't harm the people? Are they providing, what are they giving the people now? How are they helping the people? All those questions really matter. And it's just really sad.
It's the whole system. Like it just doesn't make sense because you have the people that are complaining about one thing. You have the other group that is doing what they are doing because of how they were treated, and
Yeah.
it's like this domino effect that just goes around in a circle. You know, and
Well, dominoes fall down.
They do fall down.
yeah, then somehow it's like they get back
They
up
do
again.
fall
And then,
down. But this is horrible. I mean, as Martin Luther King well said, he said, like, let me just use the word uprising, protest, when people just go bonkers, is that's the cry of the unheard. We don't like the aftermath, but shooting your citizens, that is inhumane. Okay, so people are going to be angry and people are going to come for you. People do not have respect right now for any government official. Even that's the part that is so hurtful, because the good officials now have been tainted.
yeah.
Good officials want to help, they want to say something. People are like, they don't want to hear it. Artists right now, artists have to represent their times, right? So whether an artist is doing it for their own selfish reasons or not, at the end of the day, they're making a move, and change needs to happen. That is why people like us around the world need to have conversations like this, need to contribute in any single way we can. So I mean, it's hurtful to do now. Everywhere else, it's hurtful. I mean, you guys are doing what you're doing because you're trying to amplify, understand, and get the word out.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you said artists, and I agree. I mean, I've had this discussion with anyone from MI to Audu Mekori. there are no artists that are music wise that are writing songs of the people for the people. It's all about getting rich, baby, these kind of things. It's really very, since Philip, the Kuti family,
Baby,
you don't have any sort of social commentary. Where are those voices?
Yeah.
I like that you said that. So I had this painful, because if you know, AKA, I used to be polluted with that kind of mindset 1,000 years ago, right? And so one conversation that I was having the other day, I was like, a lot of artists there are tied to politicians. That's what we need to understand. They're tied to politicians. So they're actually very careful not to fight for things that even they will deny themselves the things that they believe in to speak about, because it might jeopardize their financial status or access, right? So unfortunately, that is what happens. And then I haven't really, for artists that dare greatly, I feel like they do there's some artists that would do, maybe they do a music video and they're talking about the sufferings, but that's just like a one-time or two-time thing that they do. But are they really living that example in real time?
Right.
Yeah. It's not just coming out and singing about it, because what we're doing, what are we doing to educate and help our community? If we're singing about, I'm not saying everybody has their own experiences, but if we're singing about booty shake, if we're singing about money making, I make this and I do this and all that, how is that adding value to the economy? What we're telling people is to get rich fast. What we're telling people is not to invest in themselves or their family, or not to have compassion. We are telling people that the glitz and glamour is what we should be about. So I love artists like Asha and so many. I'm not saying like a lot of amazing artists, but I'm saying like artists need to be a true reflection of who they say they are in real time. Right. A lot of artists look at people like Fela, right? They're like, oh, I think, and I was like, they look at Fela, but do they really understand that Fela actually devoted his life to speaking against politicians, right? To speaking in so many ways. But I think what people take is the cool effect of Igbo, aka marijuana, and they take that and then they speak politically just a little bit, but they're afraid. I think that we really need to do better. We should look around us, but at the same time, the financial scare is there. If I do this, I'm never gonna get shows. I'm never gonna get platforms. I'm not gonna have a sponsor. So
yeah. See, like I really like what you said about like bringing in like the artists. Like I really feel like artists like music and technically I feel in a way artists are not really obligated to sing about certain things. It's based on their creativity and what they want to do. But just then to have to kind of show how they are connected to the people that enjoy their music. They tend to want to try to write about things that they can relate with and stuff. And like I feel like it's powerful too. If you look at the Vietnam War, was it Kyle, and how music played a big part in having people,
I mean, even just Bob Marley himself. I mean, his prominence came from political. There was tension. There was two parties, two people, and he was able to get the parties to kind of talk, and he was able to use that to the advantage of the people. Yeah. So we don't have a Bob Marley anymore.
Yeah.
We were talking about Nelson Mandela.
What you're saying. Yeah. Because are we evangelizing the things that we want to change? Are we being the change that we want to see? Music and sports, those two, historically and now, have been the united force when it comes to community, when it comes to countries healing. Music and sports have end wars.
Yep. And you saw it at the toll gate. The videos came out. We said this before. They were singing the national anthem. Yeah. Everyone stopped and started singing.
Yeah.
I know. Isn't that gives me? I mean, that is because people believe. They believe in themselves. They believe in their forefathers. They believe in the country. But it's so sad that we keep on recycling people that don't want to move the country forward.
Yeah.
And wherever
Yeah.
it's just really sad. There's no provision. You go to school.
The
You go to
dominoes
a
keep
four.
on waking up.
Exactly. You go
Yeah.
to a four-year university in Nigeria. It's basically useless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what are you using it for? So guess what people are doing?
Yeah.
They are becoming resilient and turning into entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you block their path. They're hungry. They're angry. We're hungry. We need food.
Yep.
We need money. What are we going to do? Our government is not doing something. And there's so many good politicians out there, but I don't know what's going on, guys. We
Yeah.
just need to do better. It's hurtful. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Enzo, always such a blessing to have you. Thank you so much for your voice. Kyle, you have anything you want to add?
No, yeah, we appreciate everything you share. I mean, your perspective is great. So keep it up, and we keep calling you as our expert witness.
Yeah, I just have to find my diction. I have to be very careful with my terminology.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be using certain words.
You're not going to be speaking French.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you guys so
Great.
much, guys.
Thanks
All right,
for joining
you have a
us.
good one.
Yep.
All right, bye.
Thanks.
I want to play another video for us for
Well, let's wrap this up, and I think we can kind of we got one more guest, right?
I wanted to get Mr. Chine in, so we have this guest. He is from Benue, and I
Okay.
wanted us to hear what he has, and then Mr. Chine, and then probably we can do the thing. So this is Mr. Ukan. Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey.
Zoo.
Umsu.
Pandeve.
So,
Pandido.
that's nice. A good one.
Supishi.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
So,
Welcome.
I'm fine.
How are you, man?
I'm fine, thank you. We're
Actually,
good. We're
yeah,
good.
I actually got your contact from Umsu, and he's a great friend of mine. Really awesome person that likes rock music, and when we were in our band in Nigeria, we became good friends with him. And he was telling me that you have been part of the organizers of the protests in Benue.
Yeah, we were
So
the
what?
organizers of the protest in Benue, yes.
Yeah. So what has been happening in Benue?
Well, our own protest was kind of peaceful. We really did not want to go overboard. And we had to stick with what was happening in other states, especially Lagos, which was much more like the mother of all protests. So we stuck with the 5-for-5 agenda of the protest, EndSARS, prosecute the erring officers and all. So it was quite peaceful, and we did it for 2 straight days. And then yesterday we did a candlelight procession just to pray for our fallen comrades, because it's very important that we remember them, because if we're not on the street, we won't have the military men coming all the way on the street to shoot at unarmed civilians.
Yeah.
So we had to pray for them, and then and then at least let the whole world know our story. And from Benue, let people also know that we stood with everybody, because we have terrible cases of police brutality in Benue. I've been one person who has fought tooth and nail, who has fought the police tooth and nail to make sure that these people get justice, because it's kind of terrible here, and it's hidden, because Benue is like a small community. We all know ourselves. Most times, cases of police brutality are settled within families, because the police also take advantage that these families are not well to do, so they can use money and settle them, especially in cases where a family member is killed by the police. Like somebody called me last week and was like, the Benue State government has set up a panel of inquiry to listen to police brutality. And 3 years ago, the police killed her son, and then the police didn't want this to come all out in public, and they had to the police had to settle them with 500,000 naira. take care of the bills for the burial. It's that bad because they know the woman is vulnerable. She will not make that amount of money, anytime soon. So they took advantage and gave her 500,000. I've had to just bury her son and forget about it. And she called me. I was like, would they listen to her? I said, yes, you took the money because you barely felt there was going to be justice or you didn't know anybody. So, of course, you will be listened to. So submit your petitions, submit your complaints to the panel of inquiry, and they will definitely listen to you.
So, can I ask you, like, what does like the EndSARS mean to you?
So that's where we are.
Like, how has the whole movement challenged you?
Well, the movement,
you-
to a large extent, to a large extent, the movement has been quite successful over here because we've not recorded any violence here per se. We've not recorded any death, and I think the real essence of this movement was to tell the government that the Nigerian youth have finally woken up, and this is a message against the next voting year, which is what we want. These people, these policemen have been brutalizing innocent civilians for decades, and nobody is saying anything about it. And it's time now that we spoke up, and everybody now know that we're very agile. We're not lazy as they used to call us. We're now up and ready to face the task. And we've passed our message across. The president has spoken. He has said he has listened to our demands. He has gotten our demands, and we should give him a bit of time. He's going to look into all this. And that is the reason why we have decided that, okay, fine, all these have been considered. So let's give them a chance to also think about our demands. And if our demands are not met, it's very easy to come back and hit the streets again. But one of the reasons why in Benue we have decided to shelve our protest a bit was because we noticed that some miscreants and hoodlums were trying to take over the protest, and that was not the aim of hitting the streets. People were doing it just to disrupt the peace in the land. And then some of us said, no, we have stood for everything, and will not allow anybody burn down Benue because we want to replicate what is happening in Lagos, Abuja, Enugu, Abia, Port Harcourt. No. So we decided that our protest came to an end yesterday when we did a candlelight procession to wait for the outcome of the federal government. It is what the real organizers of this protest from the start wanted, and we're following their steps. We've gone back to the drawing board. We're waiting for them to reply. We don't want any more death. It's already painful that families are grieving all over. We don't want any more deaths. We want to give them the chance to look at our demands, and that's just it.
Okay, let me also ask you, I don't know whether Kyle has anything that he would want to ask after this, but about also the persecution that had been happening in Benue before this EndSARS situation of the Christians that were being killed and the churches there in Benue. Like, how
the Fulani
do you
militant attacks and different things like that. Yeah.
So how do you see that coming together with the EndSARS movement that is happening now?
Well, the EndSARS movement has given birth to a lot of issues to be spoken about, and this is one of it. The people of Benue State have suffered a lot with this herdsmen farmer crisis. Of course, you know that an average Benue man is peaceful. The only thing that will make an average Benue man go overboard his anger is when you step on his crops, that he takes his time, strength, and everything to farm. And then these cows will come, eat these crops, and then when the farmers complain, these people will take machetes and cut them down, and that is what has led to this crisis. Right now, as I'm talking to you, we've had IDP camps, internally displaced people's camp, for almost 3 to 4 years, or over 5 years now. There's no end in sight for them going back to their homes, because each and every time they go back to look at their crops or farm, you see that somebody's beheaded, or somebody's raped, or somebody's hand is cut off. So we took the opportunity with the EndSARS protest to speak our minds that the federal government must come to the aid of the average Benue man and settle this whole crisis. It's taking too long. These guys are not ghosts. We know them. We see them. So why is the federal government relaxing? Sometimes we feel like the government even have hand in this whole mess, because when the previous administration was here, these people didn't have the guts they have now. So it feels like the federal government is playing some kind of politics. But well, we have spoken. We have used the EndSARS to speak that we want peace, and peace is the only thing we want. We want to go back to our farms. We're having serious shortage of food supply in Benue. We are the food basket of the nation, but we can't boast of that right now because food supply is very short. So we have used the EndSARS movement to speak about the maladministration of this government, both the state and the federal government. And our voices have been heard loud and clear.
Yeah, no, I think that's we've been asking these questions, and you just answered it. It's how can you grab this momentum that's the EndSARS movement is having now with the other things that exist, the Fulani militants killing and genocide, the Boko Haram things, and that's perfect. I think as that happens, you do that, and you get the asks for that as well. What is happening? Why has the government not responded? So, yeah, that's great. I think keep it up. That's encouragement from our end to yours. I lived in McCurdy for 2 years, out by the brewery,
nice.
out by the brewery.
Yeah, that's
so
yeah, good.
so I know the struggles that the people are facing there. It's real. The food basket of the nation needs to have this protection, needs to have this ability to do just to have a livelihood, right? So yeah, appreciate your time. Thank you, sir, for all what you're doing, and we just keep praying and supporting what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Kyle, do you know?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I before we have our next guest come on, I've never told you. So when we were in Threadstone, there was like this one particular day where you know like how there are like checkpoints all over the place, right?
Yeah, I know how to dodge those checkpoints quite well.
Yeah. So here we are going like here. So here we are going through all of these checkpoints, and we had like so much equipment in our van, so in the boot of one of our trucks.
Yeah.
So you know like how they make you come down and then they check the car from.
Yeah.
So like we were packed in this van, and like in that the boot, it was packed where if they opened up the doors, then the instruments would literally fall and smash on the ground.
Yeah.
So they tell us to come out, that they want to open up the boot. So I'm in there holding the equipment so that our guitars don't like smash on the ground. And the rest of the guys come out, and then that's how this police guy says, you won't listen to me. What and what? And I'm trying to explain to him that no, sir, it's not like I was disrespecting you. I was just trying to make sure that our equipment is not going to get broken, because like it costs us a lot of money just to even get it. And he makes me do frog jump there in front of the whole. Yeah, I was there on the ground pumping it, and like for those of you at home, like you have to understand like what they do. Like it's literally drilling you when
humiliation.
Humiliation.
Yep.
Even through your exhaustion, if you stop, they will either lash at you with a belt or something of that nature. So here I am just doing this on frog jump, and like other drivers, other people are coming, begging them, just saying, hey, no, please just let him go. Like this is something simple. Like it didn't have to escalate to this, nothing. So it's just crazy, man. Crazy.
Yep.
All right, so our next guest is Mr. Zakaria Chine. He is, he was one of my teachers and somebody that I appreciate, have a lot of respect for. Kyle?
Yeah, just bring him in.
All right.
Great.
Hello, Mr. Chine. You need to unmute your microphone. There you go.
Ready, Si?
Welcome. Could be a little delay.
Yeah. So good to see you, sir. Can you hear us?
I don't think so. I mean, I didn't hear the audio change when he logged in. So.
Oh, do you think that he'd have to fix the audio on the thing? Oh no. Now you're on mute, Kyle.
How did I get on mute? Okay. Can you hear us?
Okay, we can see you and we can hear you, but
We can?
no, we can see you, but we can't hear you. Okay, so I think you should see like that microphone icon there, or like where, like the settings.
Is he logging on via phone or computer? Do you know?
Yeah, is it a phone or computer that you're using?
I hear, occasionally I hear something.
Yeah, something pop up.
Why don't you play the video and then get to him behind the scenes, try to see if he can get this thing.
Okay.
It's a 1 minute video.
Can you access it or?
No, because it's on your end.
Oh yeah. That's right.
This is producer talk right here, because you uploaded it, not me.
All right. So let me.
And then can you text him or?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no wait, I do have it here. Wait, no, that's the background. Sorry, that's not it.
Look in the video.
No, because you have a low. Yeah, it's on your end. I can do it. Yeah, I'll do it. So ready?
All right, go for it.
Which one do we do? The Benjamin Watson one with him talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should.
Since 2009, Boko Haram and the Fulani militants have consistently carried out planned genocidal attacks that continue to threaten the growth, development, and livelihood of mostly Christian communities.
Oh
This
my
silent
goodness, this is what
slaughter
does
and
it.
kidnappings continue to threaten the fundamental human rights and freedoms
I hit a
of
video and I
Christians
lose my
in the
thing.
country. Nigerians live in a constant state of fear and insecurity, while their government is nonchalant about the hundreds of mostly women and children brutally massacred on a daily basis due to terrorism in the country. There is a need for the stories of innocent people who have been silenced to be heard by those of us with voices, to take advantage of the selfless opportunity of hearing their fading cries. So join me and the International Committee on Nigeria in this awareness campaign. Nothing we do is too big or too small.
It says Cam and Mike, and 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 you would have to click that, and then there is a place where it'll ask you what like audio input you are using for the just like kind of like in Zoom, how you have to choose what. Yeah. So. All right, let me get
on.
Okay, it's working now. Yeah. All right, everyone. Sorry about that. All right, can you hear us, sir? Oh no. I can hear you, but it's like it's coming on and off. But you can hear me? Yeah, it's like the sound is there, but it's kind of muffled. Or is there a way that you can add your volume on the, does it let you do that? Mm. Yeah, I think
No, I'm using my laptop. I tried using the phone. It doesn't come on. So
yeah,
I decided
I
to
think
use my
the
laptop. And I can hear you guys clearly, but I just don't know why I can't hear you. I mean, you can't hear me.
yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part. I think the service is not connecting right, but I, I I really wanted you to hear from Mr. Chine. He is a amazing voice, and he has a Facebook page called Which Way Nigeria, and he has been talking about the same issues. And we really wanted to get him with us today, but we'll try to work out the technical issues that we were having and try to have him on next time. We really apologize for that because we really wanted to hear from him. Kyle had to slip out, so he just disappeared on me. But it was really great to have you all and to hear from the different people that have been talking and stuff today. Um, Continue to follow Icon at www.iconhelp.org. Follow us on Facebook and on YouTube, Twitter. We always try to post information about these things and to let you know about the conversation that people have been having about the happenings that are happening in Nigeria. So thank you so much for being here with us and just being just so awesome and patient with us through all of these things. Don't forget to um, um, uh, register for the Ben Watson program that we will be having, the town hall, and it's just going to be a great, amazing conversation. Do not miss out. Be a part of it. Thank you so much, and everyone have a great day. Thank you so much.